Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Political Power Ranker. Chris Berg, Political Director for Nexstar Affiliates. And joining me, as always, the magic man, the man with the mathematician genes, Spencer Kimball from Emerson College Polling. He's a director there. Spencer, hello. Happy Thanksgiving week.
It's a special time, Chris. Good to be with you, and we get a special election to look at.
We do have a special election, and I made myself a little bit hungry here because I know we're going to talk a little turkey later, too. So, first of all, let's talk about this race. We're talking Tennessee special election, House District 7, a fairly new district that we're going to talk more in depth about here in a minute. But District 7 is a race that's people didn't expect to have happen. Two new candidates, Matt Van Epps, Republican, and Aftyn Behn, Democrat. They are going head to head in a race that most thought was going to be a Republican runaway. Trump won the district by 20 points, 22 points in 24. And no one expected this because, Spencer, you've got some numbers that say, actually confirm that this is a race that we need to pay attention to because the balance of power in the House is in jeopardy here for Republicans.
Well, it's an exciting race, Chris. And yes, we decided to jump in here, particularly after what we saw in those 2025 races in New Jersey, Virginia, California, Georgia, where the Democrats really did better than expected. So here was a race that we thought might become competitive. And we jumped in the field this week on Monday and Tuesday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We collected the data. We have a sample of about 600, a margin of error of about plus or minus 3.9%, which is about an 8-point swing. But one key point of the weighting for this polling as compared to previous polls is that this is intended to look at likely voters here in the 7th district. So it's not a general audience poll. It's not even a registered voter poll. It drills down to who they think is likely to vote. And when we look at those numbers, it looks not like a 22-point district that Trump won by, but closer to like a 10, 12-point district based on those turnout numbers. We'll obviously see what happens come next week. But at this time, that's how the weighting is done. So if you looked at our results here, I don't want you to compare them with our New Jersey, Virginia, California, because each survey is a study where we learn different things about the constituents. And in this poll, we decided to weight it based on the turnout model from the primary, where the Republicans outturned the Democrats about 55-45. And then we added in those new voters who didn't vote in the primary. And that's how we got to our weighting scheme. So it's slightly different than what we've used in the past, but we think it's an appropriate method to use based on what we learned from those previous polls.
Great details, Spencer, and really drilling down into how you got to where we're at today. And those numbers are on the screen. Man, this is a toss up.
It certainly is. We're going to really drill into some of the counties that are going to tell us who's going to win this race, essentially, come election night. But those early numbers show a 48, 46-point race. That's well within the poll's margin of error. You have 5% undecided with a week to go to the election. And as we dig into those numbers, you'll also see that early vote is benefiting the Democrat. And we'll have to see if the Republicans are able to get out their vote on election day to offset what could be a significant lead for the Democrats.
You know what? I've got someone here joining us that is considered by many the dean of political reporters in the state of Tennessee on the broadcast side. Bob Mueller from WKRN TV, our Nexstar affiliate in Nashville. Nashville is right next to this district in Davidson County. Bob, you're seeing these numbers. You're hearing some of this movement towards Aftyn Behn. What are you thinking when you see Spencer's numbers first?
Well, they're really kind of verifying what we're seeing on the ground here in Tennessee. As you said, Trump won this district by 22. Mark Green, the congressman who resigned, won it by 21. All the projections were that this would be won by about 10%. But there's no incumbent. These are both brand new candidates. And what we're seeing on the ground was 3 weeks ago, I saw internal numbers that had Van Epps leading by only 7. A week ago, I saw internals that had him leading by only 3. So it looks like Aftyn Behn is gaining ground. The question is, have they gone to the polls yet? I talked to some Republican pollsters this morning. They're looking at the early voting numbers, and they believe those early voting numbers trend about 5% towards the Republican. That's based on what happened in the primary election, where the Republicans did outperform the Democrats. The key is going to be if Behn can get her people to the polls on election day for her to pull this out.
We can pull those numbers up again and look at them. As Spence, I got a question for you. Those early votes, where are they coming from? Do you know? And where would they lean from your perspective?
So there's two main counties I'm looking at. Davidson County, which is part of Nashville. That's the key Democratic turnout area. And the Democrats are doing well there. We have them up about 43 points, and Harris won that area by about 37. So the vote is similar. It's only a 6-point gain. But what we're seeing is a higher turnout coming out of Nashville than what was coming out 2 years ago and 4 years ago. And if that happens, that 6 points really intensifies and is worth a lot more, to the overall vote total. So that's a key county that we're looking at. The other key county is Montgomery. Montgomery, we think, is the bellwether. Montgomery went in 22 and 24 for the Republican by about 21 points. And right now we have Montgomery going for the Republican by 1 point. That's the big makeup of ground for the Democrats. That's a 20-point makeup, which explains why this is not a 20-point race, and we're looking at a very close race. Now, these other counties outside of Williamson are very small counties, rural areas, but we'll see their vote generally comes out on election day. So we're going to see if they really push over the top and are able to drive out a red wave, because right now it looks like there's a big blue wave coming in that early voting.
Bob, what do you think of all of that? That's some interesting information to digest.
Well, that's exactly outlines what this district is too. It's a huge district. It runs from West Tennessee over by the river in Paris all the way to Nashville and north to Kentucky all the way to Alabama. And as Spencer was saying, the majority of the district is very rural, and votes out there are small. Each county does not have very many votes. Matt Van Epps will win the majority of those rural votes. If she can take a few away, it could really make a difference. The key to this race is Williamson, Davidson, and Montgomery counties. Those three counties will decide who wins here. And she needs to have a big turnout, which seems like she's getting in Davidson County. She needs to win Davidson County probably by about 10%. If she can do that, she's got a real shot at this. And I've also seen trends in Montgomery County, a growing county, about to become the fourth largest city, overtaking Chattanooga and with Clarksville. And there's a lot of new folks there, a lot of new voters there, younger folks there. She has spent a lot of time there, and it seems like it's paying off for her. If she could switch Montgomery County and actually win that, that would be ballgame.
One last question on the horse race slide, and that's to you, Bob. Kamala Harris shows up to campaign for her. Did she request her? How did that happen? Was it good or bad for her?
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to that. I think she was here for an event, and she did some canvassing for Aftyn. Aftyn, as my recollection was, didn't join her until late. I don't know if their campaign was connected at all, but they did do the event. It wasn't publicized very much. We didn't know she was in town until it happened that day. So it doesn't look like the Behn campaign asked for her to be here. She was here for something for Fisk, I believe, or TSU, and then decided to do some stuff for Aftyn.
Fascinating, because
Yes.
since she was here, it got a lot of play. And you guys weren't even told that she was going to be there.
We didn't know she was here till the day of the event.
But
That's
I think that
unusual.
speaks to what the Democrats have done in this race and stayed under the radar. They didn't bring in any of their big names to try to bring out. And that under the radar campaign may do better, because what we've seen in the polling is the Democratic brand is not very strong. The Republican brand is stronger, but right now the intensity is with the Democrats. So they may not want to be highlighting their policies as much as they want to be arguing that the Republican policies are bad, and that's what we should be focusing on in the race. And it seems to have been effective so far.
A lot of times, too, these congressional races become national races as opposed to local races. I think this one's going to be a local race. I think this is going to be about affordability, about health care. The Republican candidate tried to make it more of a national race. He campaigned being pro-Trump, supporting America first, got his back, emphasizing his military service, a pilot in Afghanistan. And about a week and a half ago, that message completely changed, because Aftyn Behn has been talking about nothing but affordability. Suddenly, the Republican candidate is all in on affordability. it changed dramatically. So I think they're seeing some polling that those are going to be the key issues in this race.
It's a great segue to Spencer, your next slide on favorability.
Well, this is an interesting slide because both candidates have even favorability, 47-41, but the way they get there is very different. So Behn gets there through the independents. She's favorable amongst independents, 55-37. Van Epps gets there through the Republicans, very popular with the Republicans, but not with the independents. He's down 50-35 with that group. So they're getting there. There's a huge Republican vote out there in the district that you can lean into if you're the Republicans. The Democrats need to pull a little Republican vote and then win that independent vote. And that's where Behn sits right now, a week before the election.
Bob?
Yeah, this is a generational change election. This will change the generations of the congressional delegation in Tennessee. This will be the first Gen X or Gen Z person to win this district. He's 42, she's 35. This is a young person's race. They're both very likable people. They present themselves well. They're both intelligent. They speak well. They don't get flustered. They're good campaigners. They shake hands well. So I can see how the likability is pretty high for both of them. They haven't gone real negative. Most of the negative ads have come from PAC money, not their own. They've kind of attacked each other on issues more than getting into the dirt. The attack ads have really come from the PAC money.
And we have seen a gender divide there. It seems like the women are breaking more for the and the men are breaking slightly more for the Republican, which is what
kind of
we've
a national
seen.
trend too.
Exactly.
But Bob, maybe just a quick reaction on this. Just in the past couple of days, really over the weekend, Oppo research on the Republican side seems to have just exploded with little tidbits of Aftyn Behn's past social media, past podcasts. Is that going to have any impact, do you think, or is it too late?
I think it's too late. I think a lot of that stuff goes like this. It's because there's so much of it out there. Now, the fact that they got her on Cape saying I hate Nashville, it was a little out of context, but it's a strong statement that she has lived up to here in Tennessee and talked about. She was talking about traffic and growth and things that the congestion, but that's a negative. That doesn't help her campaign. But I think these really hardcore negative ads that have hit both these candidates, I don't think they make that much difference this late in the race. When it's this close, I think it's going to be issues. I think it's who they believe are going to make their lives a little bit better affordably is who's going to win this race.
Couple more slides before we have to take a break. Spence, we got Trump approval.
Yeah, this is a really important slide because the president's approval rating amongst this group of voters, remember, it's not the whole district, it's amongst likely voters and people who've already voted, is underwater. It's at 47%. So if you're running on Trump's coattails as the Republican, those are short coattails right now because you're not going to get to that 50% threshold based on the favorability of the president alone. So we'll see if this number, if the turnout model changes and Republicans get fired up over the weekend and they come out. But right now, it looks as if Trump is slightly underwater, and that's really bad news for the Republican trying to use him as association to get to the office.
And I think the Republican campaign saw these numbers or saw this trend because it was 2 weeks ago. They actually had Trump do a teleconference in town to try to get voters encouraged and to early vote. MAGA Inc. put in a bunch of money doing some phone banks to get people to the polls. And about a week after that, Van Epps changed his campaign. It went from embracing Trump to just not mentioning Trump, but talking about affordability and healthcare.
That Republican vote he can get out, but the Trump is losing him the independents. He's down 25 points in approval. So that's where the Democrat Behn can say, hey, look what's happening that's what the policies Van Epps is going to carry forward. And that's obviously striking a chord with the voters.
And Bob, quick question. Has Bill Lee been on the campaign trail for Matt Van Epps?
I don't know if he has. I've not seen him. We've covered the campaign quite a bit, and I have not seen him out there. As you know, he endorsed him and has said some things about him in the press, but I haven't seen him on the campaign trail. That's not that he hasn't been. I just don't know that personally.
That's Governor Bill Lee. As I shortened it up, I need to give him the respect that he's earned over a couple of cycles.
Yep, two-term governor.
Absolutely. Let's go to the issues that you found, Spence, in this slide.
Well, it's about the economy here. Very interesting to see healthcare pop up as an issue as well. We haven't seen that really in our polling around the country. Obviously, the economy's up there, but the healthcare issue that came to light this last week with the government shutdown and the subsidies. Bob, any thoughts on how these issues are playing on the campaign trail, and have the Republicans pivoted away from maybe the Trump and into more of the affordability?
They're talking exactly about affordability, but they're not pivoting away from Trump in that what's hurting the Republicans in Tennessee are the Trump tariffs. The governor's still embracing the tariffs. The Republican Party's still embracing the tariffs, saying down the road, they're all going to be great. But the farmers in Tennessee are all going bankrupt. They have no market for their soybeans. The Trump tariffs on China shut that market down. The Trump tariffs on Canada shut down Tennessee whiskey makers. They've lost their markets. These people are hurting. The White House knows that. They've talked about bailouts, but these farmers and whiskey manufacturers don't want bailouts. They want their markets back. And I asked Van Epps about this, and he did not back off any support for Trump's tariffs at all, which surprised me a little bit. But he has, as I said, switched his message to he's going to work for more affordability, improving healthcare. He hasn't said how yet. Aftyn Behn, that's been her campaign theme since the very beginning. And she's talking about new incentives for healthcare so that the premiums don't go through the roof, which they will at the first of the year, and looking for more ways to help farmers other than bailouts, but to get their markets back are alternative ways. So she's addressing it head on. He has just now started to address it.
And that becomes an issue of time
Yes,
because we are 1 week
go.
away as we record this program.
With Thanksgiving in between.
Yes, exactly. We're a little distracted with football and turkey eating. And shocker that I'd mentioned turkey, because we've got a turkey of a poll coming up right after the break. Stay with us. All right, welcome back to Political Power Ranker. Bob Mueller, the Dean of Politics in the broadcast world, and Tennessee is joining us talking about special election in District 7. Rewind the show if you want to hear all about it. We went about 16, 17 minutes in it with Bob's insight and Spencer. But with Spencer now, we've got a national poll that's really important here, and it's all about turkey. So tell us about the poll, Spencer.
Well, we did a national poll, remember, a couple of weeks ago, and we held out some of those questions. We were asking about Thanksgiving and what people were going to be doing around the holiday season. We had 1,000 people take the survey with a 3% margin of error. And, while we do the politics and we like the pre-election polling, there is a space for survey research on just generally people's attitudes about different issues and social scenes. So that's what we're going to take a look at for a few minutes, Chris.
So this is a show about politics, and we've heard over the past several years, especially since the Trump era began in 2015, no one wants to talk about politics around the Thanksgiving dinner table. And I think you found that to be true.
Yeah, once again, Chris, we're in the minority. So about a third of us like to talk politics at the around the Thanksgiving Day table. The other 2/3 are pretty annoyed about us. So as we take a look this holiday season, perhaps we should talk about the weather, sports, a few other topics. Politics seems to be a little bit more controversial. However, we do see that within the Democrats and Republicans, I think they enjoy kind of huddling with their own team and talking shop amongst themselves, but maybe not sharing that with others.
It's interesting. For the past several years, I've avoided just kind of even throwing a grenade in the middle of the table and see what happens. But then recently, I've kind of poked the bear of my mom a little bit to see what she would do, and the grizzly came out. So I don't think I'm going to throw any grenades this year in the middle of the dining room table. Bob, what are your experiences been over the past several years?
I've got a group of about 12 of us that are across the spectrum politically that play golf all the time. And our one rule is we don't talk politics because we'll be throwing clubs at each other. So it doesn't exist on the golf course. I've got some really good friends who are very pro-Trump. We like to have the discussions. We like to get into it. They like to defend him. I like to kind of, point out some things I think should be changed. And so some of the discussions, people like to go back and forth. At the dinner table on Thanksgiving, I think we're going to leave it alone and just talk about football.
100%. And there's something to be said about a healthy discussion, whether you
Yes.
agree or disagree. A healthy discussion to just have everyone understand where they're coming from
Yes.
that's not a bad thing. But maybe not around the turkey table. All right, Spence, next slide. It's all about turkey. And do you like it?
Well, yeah. So 2/3 of people don't want to talk about politics, but about 3/4 of us are happy having that turkey dinner. So only 1 out of 4 sitting around that table is like, I wish we had something else to eat. But we're generally happy with turkey. I don't think that's going to change as our main course here for Thanksgiving. You guys do anything else?
I love Thanksgiving. I think it's my favorite holiday. It's the one nice tradition where you know what you're going to have. You're going to have turkey and dressing and watch football. I like that. I mean, Christmas can be different, Halloween can be different, Fourth of July can be different. But Thanksgiving, you know what you're going to get: pumpkin pie, turkey and dressing, and football.
100%. And you know what? The only thing that I require is the dinner start after the Packer game.
Yes.
So if it's a noon
What's the
start
early
for
game
Green
this year?
Bay, it's a 3 o'clock dinner time. That's
Oh,
my only ask. And so far, my wife has complied. All
it's
right,
always
one
fun to
last
get
slide on
family
turkey.
together. It's
Yeah,
always fun to get
exactly,
family together because you know some craziness is going to happen.
exactly. And one last slide, Spence.
All right, we're looking at who doesn't like that turkey dinner. The Republicans like the turkey, the Democrats a little less. So if depending on your political group that's sitting at the table, you might want to have a few extra side dishes depending on their political persuasion.
That's fascinating. I didn't think it would break down politically. Any
Maybe
thoughts,
the
Bob?
Democrats, maybe the Democrats are more vegetarian.
You
Yeah,
know
it could be
what?
as simple as that.
It could be as simple as that. And you know what? That one feels like a hot potato, and I am not going to touch that any further. Or hot turkey for that matter. All right. We've got just a few more minutes left in the show. We've got our up and down segment coming up next, so stick around. We'll be right back. All right, we have now reached the point in the show where Spencer has his crystal ball and it tells us who's up and who's down this turkey week. Spencer?
Remember, Chris, it's a plasma screen. But on my plasma screen, I've got up Democrat Aftyn Behn. She is running a very strong campaign here. Her favorability is positive. She's well within the polls margin of error, which is a big shock for most people who are just tuning into this race. And she has a legit chance of winning this, pulling a big upset here in 2025. And we'll see if she's able to finish strong this last week.
Bob, any thoughts on Aftyn Behn being up?
I agree. I think her momentum has peaked at the right time. I think the Van Epps people are panicking a little bit. I think they see that she's strong and they're trying to answer that strength with new money has been put in for new ads. This district changed a little bit. It is more Democratic now than it previously was. If there's a district where the Democrat can win without an incumbent, this is the race and she might be the candidate. We're going to wait and see election night. It's really going to be about turnout, but I think she's got a real shot at shocking the country and making national news.
And Bob, that's because of the redistricting from Tennessee prior to this current trend of redistricting.
Yes. Yeah, 2 years ago.
One other entities that are up, I think, are anyone who is accepting political advertising, who did not expect this.
Our sales department is very happy about this race. There has been a ton of money tossed into Tennessee, more than $3 million since the primary and about $2 million since the general took place. And it's only a 3-week race. A lot of money, a lot of ad money is being spent
And
here.
no one expected that
No,
for this race.
This is all bonus profits.
All new money. All right, Spencer, who's down?
Down is the Republican candidates. It's not that Van Epps is running a bad campaign or a bad candidate, or it seems that this looks to be a Democratic wave year coming in the midterms, and this could be the start of what we're seeing. We saw it a couple of weeks ago in Georgia, surprises in Virginia, California, New Jersey being larger victories. So right now, I think the Republican candidates around the country are very nervous about having to run for either re-election or to challenge a Democrat.
Thoughts, Bob?
I agree. I think that they saw this. I think that they're certainly not pushing away from Trump, but they're not mentioning Trump the way they were at the beginning of the campaign. They're talking about the issues. So I think they saw that there needs to be a change here. He's run a traditional campaign. Her campaign has been a little bit more non-traditional. She's been in the belly of the beast. She's gone into Republican counties. He's done it more by the books, on TV, a little on social media, done some events in safe districts, but hasn't really gone somewhere where he would be challenged. I think she's gonna come out stronger for that, and that may give her the chance to again make this flip.
Now, Tennessee's a red state.
It is. It would be a
and
big upset.
And you've got a governor's race next year. Does a Aftyn Behn victory give any Democrat a little bit of hope next year?
Statewide is going to be tough. You know, they own right now 8 of the 9 congressional districts, supermajority in both legislative houses, the governor's race, both Senate races. It's going to be tough to win statewide for any Democrat. And it's really going to be another time, though, that they have a chance, because it will be a non-incumbent race. It's going to be all new candidates for governor. So if there's a chance, that's when it will happen for them.
I'm sure there are a bunch of Democrats who have fingers crossed heading into turkey
Yes.
season and next week, exactly 1 week from today. I do have one up and down that I want to share with you guys. My up are 2 people, Gobble and Waddle, 2 turkeys that the president pardoned just today. So congratulations, Gobble and Waddle. And my down, and I did not want to put this on the screen because I felt bad for them. Every other turkey in America that gave its life for us to have an enjoyable meal. So thank you, every other turkey. So Bob, thank you very much for joining us and enjoyed your first appearance here. Hopefully you come back.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed it.
Spence, good to see you. We'll see you next week. Everyone, thanks for watching, and we'll be back next week. And don't forget to watch Bob. He's got a show called This Week with Bob Mueller every Sunday. It's on WKRN.com. So tune in for Bob and his show every week if you're looking for Tennessee politics. Thank you, everyone. Have a great weekend.